Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Safer Gambling Forum in partnership with Safer Gambling Week. Thank you all so much again for joining us. I hope everyone who joined us for the first session enjoyed that and took away lots of interesting insights and inspiration to continue conversations this week. We are now moving into our second session, which we are discussing from operator to supplier, bridging the gap in safer gambling. Before I introduce our fantastic speaker, just a reminder to everyone watching to please do send over any questions that you might have to Yardena. To do this, again, please head over to Slido. The QR code on the screen here will take you to the questions page on your mobile device, or alternatively, there is a link just above the broadcast screen in the description that you should be able to see there that will take you to Slido on your laptop or computer screen as well. Once you get there, just enter in the event code EGR Safer Gambling Forum and type your questions and send these over. And alternatively, you can vote on any questions that are there to make sure that we are answering the most anticipated of those questions. Okay, so please now allow me to welcome our fantastic speaker from Mindway AI, Yardena Almagor. I'll invite her to the stage. Hello, Yardena, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, delighted to be joined by you today. So here we're going to be discussing the perspective from someone who has worked on kind of both sides of the coin, so from operator to supplier, and kind of we'll explore kind of the importance of building mutual trust between operators and suppliers, and how that kind of defines the next phase of their protection. So we've got lots to discuss today. But first of all, I'd love for you to just kind of set the scene on kind of your experience here, Dana. So you've been in the industry, I think, around 15 years, working at one of the UK's biggest gambling operators, and now, of course, more recently have joined the team at Mindway. So can you just sort of talk us through your kind of career up until now and how you got to sort of have this as your main focus on the kind of safer gambling side?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Well, I've started 15 years ago in a very, very junior role at William Hill. I was uploading affiliate banners. That's all I've done. 9 hours a day. That's the basic work. And then I grew quickly into more of a leadership role and eventually built head of market. I was head of marketing operations, which gave me a really big understanding on how operations work and what pressure is there. And that whole mindset of problem solving and just pulled me into more of a product direction. So first I was senior product at Gala Coral at the time. Today they're in Tain. And later I went back to William Hill, but now wearing my product hat. And eventually I think my most meaningful role at Evoke was being head of product for compliance and safer gambling. I think it's where I really found my passion and realized that this is what I want to do if I want to make a real difference in the world. So I then took an opportunity to become head of player safety at Evoke, so moving more to a more strategic role. And with time, I think it became very clear to me that if I want to make a big impact, I can't do this for one operator. It's not going to work. It's not going to make that impact I want to. So for me, it was a no-brainer to go into Mindway AI. It was a company that I share the same values with them, and I thought it would be a brilliant opportunity. So I think that climbing from the real bottom and wearing so many hats and seeing the business from so many different perspectives, it really puts me in a really good position now on the supplier side to start seeing that from that end as well. And all of those skills are really, really effective in my day-to-day now as a customer success manager. I see it as a product role. I find problems. We try and find solutions. We define them. We work with stakeholders. It's pretty much the same today. So I think I went like full circle.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I think, seeing it from so many different perspectives across your whole kind of career, that'll be sort of super valuable. And as we heard also in the opening session was that sort of real core passion from the individual is really crucial, I think, in this particular kind of area of the industry. So let's explore that kind of seeing those kind of multiple perspectives. So you've witnessed player protection from both operator and supplier. Can you share a specific example from where your operator experience significantly influenced a solution that you helped develop now that you're at Mindway AI?
Yes, of course. So I think one of the biggest advantages of being an operator myself is that I understand two very basic things: the operational burden, which is huge, and the need to defend your strategy when the regulator knocks on the door. Like, these are the two main things that they're busy with. And that's really shaped a lot of the things I do. So for one example is that I'm working with an operator on building reporting capabilities that will help them prep quicker for an audit from the regulator and will allow them to do internal dry runs whenever they like. And it's a very simple task from Mindway's side. It's reporting. We have the data. We can support that. But it's huge for someone on the operator side. It's such a big time saver. And it's a good example of that blind spot that you have when you never worked on the operator, because you just don't know what the day-to-day is. And I try to constantly introduce minor UX changes into our platform just to shorten time to evaluate cases, just to make life easier, the day-to-day life easier for people.
Fantastic. And in your recent EGR op-ed that I think we published potentially last week, I think. So you mentioned that convincing senior management to prioritize sustainability can be challenging. So how would you say that you approach these conversations? So now that you're on the supplier side, and also what advice do you have to others facing similar challenges?
Well, I think now, instead of convincing, my focus is more framing sustainability as essential to avoid any fine scrutiny and just unnecessary operational pressure. There's just no need for that. I think most senior leaders, they understand risk. That's their job. And what they need is clarity and evidence, not lectures. I think we've done so much of that in the lived experience, and they know the why. I think they just need to understand it more commercially. So when I work with operators, we analyze their data together. We try to pinpoint where the gaps are and try to define really clear KPIs. And then we model together different solutions, and just until we fine tune where it fits their commercial and operational needs. So I think, and it's all data driven, right? At the end of the day, it's all data. And I think this is where senior leaders, that's where they listen. So I think my advice is very simple: bring data, bring clarity, and show what proactive risk management really means and what it prevents. I think when they see how early detection really supports both safety and the business itself, it becomes really easier.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And you can point it there as well. So you've highlighted the importance of collaboration between operators and suppliers. Can you describe a successful partnership that exemplified this collaboration, and what were the key factors that contributed to the success?
I think the strongest partnerships we have is with operators that genuinely treat us as partners rather than suppliers. These are clients that invite us into their internal meetings, and they share their ideas, their challenges, what they need. And because of that and that cooperation, they often become our early adopters of new features. So we work really together. Their feedback shapes how our platform works for everyone else. So they influence the development, so solutions really evolve around their needs. So they're the early ones. We gained a very honest and operationally grounded insight. So they sit there with developers, they feedback nonstop, we do demos. And together we really sit and build tools that make sense, right? And will really impact their day-to-day, because sometimes we can think of a feature that we believe will be beneficial, but then when you look at it in real life, it's not the case, right? So I think when operators position themselves, it's really put us as part of their process, it really becomes a partnership. Mm-hmm. I think it's really a shared understanding, transparency, really clear ownership, and really consistent communication. We talk every day with these clients.
Fantastic. And yes, we've sort of talked about kind of getting senior leaders on board and kind of and building those collaborations. But let's kind of explore as well about kind of future proofing. So adapting to rapidly changing regulations is of course crucial. How does Mindway AI ensure its tools remain future proof? And how do you incorporate regulatory foresight into the product development that you're working on?
Well, I think first, the foundation of our model is based on neuroscience and behavioral research, and the reality is problematic gambling it looks the same no matter where you are, right? Mm-hmm. So I think our base is very, very strong. But on top of that, we try to layer jurisdiction-specific behavioral insights. I think our recent example is with Lithuania. We have customers from there. There's a new regulation coming in, and suddenly when we work with them, we start understanding that there's a different standard behavior in that country, and we need to adjust our model. So we work with them on doing that. So they meet the regulatory requirements, and it works well for them and for their jurisdiction. But also, we're a small company, and everyone has responsibility to look at the regulation, making sure we're informed. But we also obviously have one dedicated person that's their job. But we all try to support that. So we try to constantly be on top of it. We speak to regulators directly and the operators. So we try to get everything as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. So one element of, again, sort of your experience from going from one side to the other, I'm sure there may have been some element of culture shock in that, and kind of, how it's quite a different kind of operational together. How did this transition affect your approach to building relationships within the industry, and what key insights have you gained from now being on the other side?
Well, the cultural shock was real, no doubt.
Can imagine.
As an operator, you used to own all the processes, and suddenly I can only advise, I can guide, I can support, but at the end of the day, I'm just enabling someone else's job, and I try to make sure it's the easiest as possible. But the transition was really eye-opening, and even in ways I didn't expect. Even terminology changed, right? So terms I used to use in the past 5 years, easily everyone understands them. It's not the case anymore, especially not on the supplier side, and we need to look to bridge that gap and teach everyone the same language, agree on the same terminology. So that's a very basic thing, but I think I found myself coming to this role with a lot of compassion, because most of the people I work with are not the senior management, or the people that are on the ground, hands-on, they use it, they're the ones under pressure, and I really feel for them. I really know how they feel, and I feel for them. So I approach it with a lot of empathy and just trying to make their day-to-day easier.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point about the different languages of the different perspectives as well. So yeah, that's great to know more about that. One of the kind of key points that you were talking about in the op-eds that I mentioned earlier was how operators and suppliers can best balance commercial goals with ethical responsibilities, and without compromising on either side. So can you provide an example of a time when both were successfully aligned, and kind of how that came to be?
Yes, I think I see it less as balancing opposites, and it's more designing approach that supports both and how they support each other. I think a strong example was a conversation I had with one of our clients, and we spoke about their alert and how they approach things. And I raised an issue around missing post big win engagement I haven't seen, and they're not required to do that by their regulations. It's fine, but I've shared two things: how others are doing it and what other regulators are asking for, but also some behavioral insight. And we know from all the research and speaking to so many lived experience that for many individuals, problem gambling really starts at a big win. And that conversation reframed everything for them. So suddenly they realized that proactive contact for a customer after a big win could be really beneficial for the business and the responsible thing to do. And it builds trust with the customer. So now they're actually reviewing their policy, although they don't have to do it, but they realize, okay, we can do something really good and protect the player, but we can also build a really good trust with them and make sure they're here with us for years. So that's the kind of alignment where things really sit together very well and work together.
Great. No, it's very kind of inspiring to hear about, I would say. So yeah, apologies for my eyes darting around. I'm just catching up on any questions that are coming through. So I've got a couple here, if you don't mind, Yardena. So
yeah.
First of all, how do you bridge the gap internally within the company? So with those who do not focus on responsible gambling, to take it more seriously and not be against it, again, potentially for those kind of commercial goals aforementioned?
I thought we're beyond that. I thought everyone understands that it's the right thing to do, right? But to show the impact of how, when we do things right, when we show them examples for conversations, that the ops teams had, show what the impact is when we actually catch things on time, and really show the impact on your business. You have less customers that you have to suspend. You have less customers that you need to block. There are less customers self-excluding. The data is there. You just need to dig and find it if you're doing it right.
That's it. And another one here. So this is specifically about Game Scanner, if that's okay. So can Game Scanner be used to create regulator reports on specific players if requested by the regulator, i.e. listing triggers and interventions had with the player?
So when we allow customers, when they look at a specific account, they can download an HTML version, so it's fully interactive, so they can really view the whole history of the customer with the risk scores changes, intensity score changes, all the different triggers. So I'm not sure it will fit exactly what a regulator will need, but that's exactly one of the things I'm talking about when cooperating with operators. It's them explaining what they need. What do you need to show the regulator, and we can help design something that will fit everyone and more than one regulator.
Thank you. So we've only got just a couple of minutes left, and time flies when there's so much to discuss. But yeah, if you could maybe just summarize just a broad overview of kind of what you would say are the key kind of methods for bridging the gap, and maybe just in a couple of sentences.
I think suppliers need to learn more about the day-to-day of operators. I think that's something that both sides should push for, but operators insist that someone will come and sit and see the day-to-day that your teams are going through, the pains that they're going through, and what are the real problems. That would be a really big advice. And and I think for the suppliers, again, learning more about the operators, really knowing their world, learning the terminology, learning the different. Yes, our operation is in Denmark, but I expect our teams to know what Grand National is and Cheltenham, right? They need to know what industry. They need to know the industry very, very well, and not just the tech.
Right. Well, it's been fantastic to hear all about this, Jordana. Your kind of insights are really interesting to hear. And so really appreciate you joining us for this session. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. We now have one final session of our Safer Gambling Forum. So again, please do navigate back over to the agenda page and click to join the broadcast on session 3, where we will be in conversation with the RET and charity sector companies. So I hope to see you all there. And again, thank you so much, Jordana.
Thank you.